Here's your refined version of the content on foundations of second language acquisition, organized clearly and professionally while keeping the content informative and student-friendly. Foundations of second language acquisition. Introduction. Second language acquisition, SLA, is the study of how individuals learn a second language, L2, after acquiring their first language, L1. It explores cognitive, linguistic, social, and psychological factors that affect language learning. What is a second language, L2? Definition: any language learned after the first native language. SL versus FL, second language, SL, used regularly in daily life, e.g., English in India, Pakistan. Foreign language, FL, learned for travel or communication with native speakers, not used daily, e.g., British English in Pakistan. Global perspective on multilingualism. Over 60% of the world is bilingual or multilingual. Examples: Canada, English and French; India, Hindi, English, and regional languages; Switzerland, German, French, Italian, Romansh. Why do people learn a second language? Personal interest, love for languages, cultures, travel, education, academic growth and research, professional growth, career advancement, higher salary. Immigration and integration, adapting to new countries and societies. Factors affecting second language learning. 1. Age of acquisition. Younger learners tend to gain fluency more easily. 2. Exposure and immersion. Regular interaction accelerates learning. 3. Cultural and social context. Societal support or resistance affects motivation. 4. Motivation and attitude. A strong will and positive attitude improve outcomes. The nature of language learning. Naturalistic learning, unstructured learning through conversation, media, and daily use. Formal learning, classroom-based learning with grammar rules, tests, and textbooks. Key theories in language learning. Key contributor concept. Behaviorist B.F. Skinner. Language is learned through imitation and reinforcement. Nativist Noam Chomsky. Humans have an innate language acquisition device. Cognitive Piaget. Language learning involves mental processing and problem solving. Sociocultural. Language is learned through social interaction. The role of input and interaction. Comprehensible input. Learners acquire language best when exposed to messages slightly beyond their current level. Interaction. Speaking and practicing with others enhances fluency and confidence. Challenges is in learning in L2, pronunciation of unfamiliar sounds, complex grammar structures, vocabulary memorization and recall, cultural expressions and context. For L1 versus L2 learning, Compel 1 learning, L2 learning. Feature L1 learning, owning a comparative view. Age of acquisition, from infancy, after age 5 or later. Learning environment, natural, immersive, formal or limited exposure. Acquisition method, implicit, often explicit and intentional. Memory type, procedural, automatic, declarative, rules, facts. Grammar learning, absorbed naturally, taught explicitly. Pronunciation, native-like, may include accent. Vocabulary acquisition, through context, through deliberate practice. Error correction happens naturally. Formal correction and feedback. Motivation, for communication, academic, career, or personal reasons. Fluency, fast and subconscious, slower and effortful. Similarities between L1 and L2 learning. Both require input and practice, involve all 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Errors and corrections are a natural part of the learning process. Effective strategies for L2 learning. Immersion, surround yourself with the language in real-life settings. Practice, regular speaking and writing enhance proficiency. Multimedia use, watch films, listen to music podcasts, read books. Think in L2, avoid translating from L1, develop direct thinking in the new language. Conclusion and key takeaways. SLA combines both natural and structured learning methods. Multilingualism is a global reality. Most people speak more than one language. L1 versus L2. L1 is acquired naturally, L2 requires effort, instruction, and motivation. Success in SLA relies on quality input, interaction, and consistent practice. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a PowerPoint, Here's an easy to understand explanation of the key theories in language learning with a little more detail about when they were introduced, who presented them, and what their main idea is. 1. Behaviorist theory. Key contributor B.F. Skinner, American psychologist. Presented around the 1950s. Main idea: language is learned through imitation, practice, and positive reinforcement. Explanation: Skinner believed that children learn language by copying what they hear from adults. When they say something correctly, they get rewarded or praised, so they repeat it again. For example, if child says mama and the mother smiles, the child learns to use the word again. 2. Nativist theory. Key contributor Noam Chomsky, linguist and philosopher from the USA, presented around the 1960s. Main idea: humans are born with a special ability to learn language, called the language acquisition device, LAD. Explanation: Chomsky disagreed with Skinner and said that children don't just copy language, they are naturally programmed to learn it. Even if no one teaches them grammar, they still figure it out. This shows that language learning is something built into our brain. 3. Cognitive theory. Key contributor Jean Piaget, Swiss psychologist. Presented from the 1930s to 1950s. Main idea: language develops as part of its overall mental development. Explanation: Piaget said that children learn language as they grow and learn to think and solve problems. Before learning words, they understand objects and actions in their mind. Language comes after thinking. For example, before saying ball, a child understands what a ball is and how it rolls. Number 4, sociocultural theory. Key contributor Lev Vygotsky, Russian psychologist, presented in the 1920s, 1930s, but became popular later. Main idea: language is learned through social interaction with others. Explanation: Vygotsky believed that children learn language by talking and interacting with parents, teachers, and friends. He introduced the idea of the zone of proximal development, ZPD, the space between what a child can do alone and what they can do with help. Language learning happens best with support from others. Summary table: theory, time period, main idea,